Welcome back to Qube, the place where cars are not just machines, but stories on four wheels. If you love honest reviews, deep dives, and real-world car talk without the boring stuff, you're in the right place. Today on Qube, we're talking about a car that quietly became one of the most balanced sedans of its time, a car that didn't scream for attention but earned respect through design, comfort, and everyday reliability. This is the Ford Fusion. The Ford Fusion entered the market at a time when sedans were still kings of the road. SUVs hadn't completely taken over yet, and buyers wanted something that looked modern, drove comfortably, and didn't punish their wallets at the fuel pump. Ford didn't try to reinvent the wheel with the Fusion. Instead, they focused on balance, and that balance is exactly why this car still has a strong fan base even years after production ended. When you first look at the Ford Fusion, it feels confident without being aggressive. The design is clean, wide, and planted. Ford took inspiration from its global design language, giving the Fusion a sleek front end that almost feels European. The grille flows smoothly into the headlights, creating a face that looks premium rather than budget-focused. It's a car that doesn't beg for attention, but when parked next to competitors, it quietly stands out. From the side, the Fusion has a strong shoulder line that runs from the front fender all the way to the rear, giving the car a sense of motion even when it's standing still. The roofline is slightly sloped, adding a sporty touch without sacrificing rear headroom. The rear design is simple but effective, with wide taillights and a solid stance that makes the car look stable and mature. Step inside the Ford Fusion, and the first thing you notice is how driver-focused the cabin feels. Ford designed the interior with practicality in mind, but they didn't forget comfort. The dashboard layout is logical, clean, and easy to understand, even for someone sitting in the car for the first time. Buttons are placed where you expect them to be, and controls don't require a learning curve. The seats in the Fusion deserve special mention. They're supportive enough for long drives, yet soft enough for daily commuting. Whether you're stuck in city traffic or cruising on the highway, the seating position feels natural and relaxed. Higher trims offer leather seats with power adjustment, making the driving experience even more comfortable. Space is another area where the Ford Fusion shines. The front seats provide generous legroom and headroom, while the rear seats are surprisingly spacious for a midsize sedan. Adults can sit comfortably in the back without feeling cramped, which makes the Fusion a great choice for families or ride-sharing use. The trunk is wide and deep, easily handling luggage for road trips, groceries, or daily errands. One of the most important parts of the Ford Fusion story is its engine lineup. Ford offered the Fusion with multiple powertrain options, giving buyers the freedom to choose what suited them best. The base engines focused on fuel efficiency and smooth performance, perfect for daily driving. These engines are quiet, refined, and more than capable for city and highway use. For those who wanted more power, Ford introduced turbocharged EcoBoost engines. These engines transformed the Fusion from a calm commuter into a surprisingly quick and responsive sedan. Acceleration feels confident, merging onto highways is effortless, and overtaking slower traffic doesn't require planning ahead. The turbocharged engines strike a great balance between performance and fuel economy. Then there's the hybrid and plug-in hybrid versions of the Ford Fusion. These models showed Ford's commitment to efficiency. Without sacrificing comfort, the hybrid Fusion is incredibly smooth, almost silent at low speeds, and ideal for city driving. Fuel economy is impressive, making it a favorite among drivers who wanted to save money at the pump without switching to a compact car. Driving the Ford Fusion feels exactly how a midsize sedan should feel. The steering is light but precise, making the car easy to maneuver in tight spaces. On the highway, the Fusion feels stable and confident, absorbing road imperfections without feeling floaty. Suspension tuning leans more toward comfort than sportiness, which makes sense for a car designed to handle daily life with ease. Road noise is well controlled, especially in higher trims. The cabin remains quiet even at higher speeds, allowing for relaxed conversations or enjoyable music playback. Ford clearly invested time in sound insulation, and it shows during long drives. Technology in the Ford Fusion evolved significantly over the years. Earlier models focused on basic functionality, while later versions introduced more advanced infotainment systems. Ford's sync system allowed drivers to control music, calls, and navigation through voice commands, reducing distractions while driving. The touchscreen interface became more responsive in later updates, making daily use smoother and more intuitive. Safety was another strong point for the Ford Fusion. The car was equipped with multiple airbags, stability control, traction control, and strong crash test ratings. Higher trims offered advanced driver assistance features like blind spot monitoring, lane keeping assist, adaptive cruise control, and automatic emergency braking. These features made the Fusion not just comfortable, but also reassuring for families and long-distance drivers. One reason the Ford Fusion gained such a loyal following is its reliability when properly maintained. While no car is perfect, the Fusion proved to be dependable for many owners over the long term. Routine maintenance, regular oil changes, and proper care allowed many Fusion models to easily cross high mileage without major issues. Maintenance costs for the Ford Fusion are generally reasonable. Parts are widely available, and most mechanics are familiar with Ford's engineering. This makes ownership less stressful compared to more complex or luxury-oriented sedans. Insurance costs are also relatively affordable, adding to the Fusion's appeal as a practical daily driver. The Ford Fusion also deserves credit for how it aged. Even today, older Fusion models don't look outdated. The design has held up well, and with proper care, the interior materials still feel solid and comfortable. This timeless design is one of the reasons the Fusion remains popular in the used car market. When Ford announced the discontinuation of the Fusion, many fans were disappointed. The decision wasn't about the car being bad, it was about changing market trends. SUVs and crossovers took over, and sedans slowly faded from the spotlight. But the Fusion's exit left a noticeable gap, especially for drivers who preferred a comfortable, efficient, and well-designed sedan. In real-world driving, the Ford Fusion excels as an everyday car. It doesn't demand attention, it doesn't overwhelm the driver, and it doesn't complicate ownership. Instead, it delivers exactly what most people need: comfort, efficiency, safety, and reliability. It's the kind of car that quietly becomes part of your daily routine, earning trust over time. For long road trips, the Fusion proves its worth. The comfortable seats, smooth ride, and stable handling make hours behind the wheel feel less tiring. Fuel-efficient engines reduce frequent stops, and the spacious cabin allows passengers to relax without feeling confined. In city driving, the Fusion remains easy to live with. Visibility is good, steering is light, and parking isn't stressful. The car feels predictable and controlled, which is exactly what most drivers want in everyday traffic. Looking back, the Ford Fusion represents a golden era of midsize sedans. It wasn't trying to be flashy or overly sporty. Instead, it focused on doing everything well. That balanced approach is what made it successful and what continues to make it a smart choice in the used car market today. If you're considering a Ford Fusion, you're choosing a car that values comfort, practicality, and thoughtful design. It's not about showing off, it's about enjoying the drive and trusting your car to handle daily life without drama. The Fusion also tells an important story about the automotive industry. It reminds us that great cars don't always need to be bold or revolutionary. Sometimes, getting the basics right is what truly matters. As we wrap up today's deep dive, one thing becomes clear: the Ford Fusion may no longer be in production, but its impact hasn't disappeared. It remains a symbol of balance in a world that often chases extremes. Thank you for spending your time with Qube today. If you enjoyed this in-depth look at the Ford Fusion, make sure to like the video, share it with fellow car enthusiasts, and subscribe to Qube for more honest, detailed, and engaging car content. Drop a comment below and let us know your experience with the Ford Fusion or which car you want us to cover next.